everybody. I'd like to give a warm welcome to all of you out there. As you know, my name is Renee and you're watching my Health Corner. Believe it or not, God really does care about your health. Last year, just about anywhere you look, sickness and disease were on the rise. And in the United States, someone had a heart attack every 40 seconds. 1.4 million Americans are diagnosed with diabetes every year, and 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime. It was estimated there would be 1.9 million new cancer cases diagnosed and 609,360 cancer deaths in the U.S. last year in 2022. There's also a rise in the number of strokes per year, gastrointestinal problems, arthritic conditions, lung conditions, lupus, multiple sclerosis, and a host of many other diseases. The question is why? Many people believe that God is to blame, but is that the case? In the Bible, in 3 John verse 2, we're told that God wants us to prosper and to be in health. So if he wants us to be in health, why is disease more rampant now than ever before? What's the problem? Well, there's laws known as natural laws, and when we neglect these laws in any way, the result is sickness and or disease. And over a period of time of neglecting these laws, severe diseases can set in, such as cancer. Now, the last time I talked about the difference between a vegan and a health reformer, today I'm going to be talking about water treatments. Now, remember the story in the Bible in 2 Kings chapter 5 where Naaman was told to go dip in the River Jordan? Well, that's a very interesting story. If you're not familiar with it, go read it. He was healed by God. And now, Spirit of Prophecy says, as religious aggression subverts the liberties of our nation, those who would stand for freedom of conscience will be placed in unfavorable positions. For their own sake, they should, while they have the opportunity to become intelligent in regard to disease, its causes, prevention, and cure. And that's Councils on Health, 506, paragraph 1. So how do we do that? Well, by using simple treatments without drugs, PC 31, paragraph 5. Curing disease by the application of water and other hygienic remedies, Review and Herald, February 20, 1866, paragraph 20. And there is a work to be done in treating the sick with water, SPM, which is Spalding and McGann, 137, paragraph 2. Now, there's a whole bunch of quotes about water. I'm not going to read them all, but one more says, what power there is in water. GH, October 1, 1899, paragraph 6. We're also told that water treatments aren't appreciated as they should be in Ministry of Healing 237, paragraph 2. So I'm going to have a link below about what medical science says about water therapy and the health benefits. And we're also told that water treatments should be used for healing, and that the Lord has taught us that the great efficacy for healing lies in proper use of water. These treatments should be given, and that was written in 1908. Not too long before she died, which was 1915. So that's just 7 years. And that's in 2SM 288, paragraph 1. So when Edson and Willie were very sick, those are her sons, she says, we first prayed earnestly to God that he would rebuke the disease and heal them. Then did we feel relieved from doing everything in our power for their recovery? No. We worked most vigorously using God's own remedies. We applied water in various ways. 19 MR 227, paragraph 1. So some key things to keep in mind when you're giving any water treatment. Know the diagnosis of your patient. Keep the patient covered at all times when doing the treatments. Be gentle on the elderly because their skin can break very easily. Many elderly have very thin skin. Keep an eye on any reaction they may have. And also remember, men are to treat men and women to treat women, unless, of course, it's your spouse. That's a different story. Check the temperature of the water for each patient. What's warm for one may be too hot for another. Or what's, cold for one may be hot for another. You just never know. So you have to check with them. And pray before doing any treatment. Now, I'm going to post a link below from the book to read the book, How to Live. And that's the book that Sister White says we should all read to learn how to cook properly. And in that book, she wrote 6 articles, and she's the one who put the book together. Her husband also wrote articles for it, And she placed in the book articles written by other doctors that the Lord showed her were close to what he was trying to show her. So in that book are many remedies for water treatments, and you can, I'll be posting the link below, and you can go read that on your own. To learn more about that book, you can read 3SM 276, a question on the vision. Did you receive your views upon health reform before visiting the Health Institute at Dansville, New York, or before you had read works on the subject? And the answer is in the next paragraph. She says, it was at the house of Brother A. Hillard at Otsego, Michigan, June 6, 1863, that the great subject of health reform was opened before me in a vision. I did not visit Danville till August 1864, 14 months after I had the view. I did not read any works on upon health until I had written Spiritual Gifts, Volume 3 and 4, Appeal to Mothers, and had sketched out most of my 6 articles in the 6 numbers of How to Live. I did not know that such a paper existed as The Laws of Life, published at Dansville, New York. I had not heard of the several works upon health written by Dr. J.C. Jackson and other publications at Dansville at the time I had the view named above. I did not know that such works existed until September of 1863, when in Boston, Massachusetts, my husband saw them advertised in a periodical called The Voice of the Prophets, published by Elder J.V. Himes. My husband ordered the works from Dansville and received them at Topsham, Maine. His business gave him no time to pursue them, and as I determined not to read them until I had written out my views, the books remained in their wrappers. As I introduced the subject of health to friends where I labored in Michigan, New England, and in the state of New York, and spoke against drugs and flesh meats and in favor of water, pure air, and a proper diet, the reply was often made, you speak very nearly the opinions in the laws taught in the Laws of Life and other publications by Drs. Trail, Jackson, and others. Have you read that paper and those works? My reply was that I had not. Neither should I read them until I had fully written out my views, lest it should be said that I have received my light upon the subject of health from physicians and not from the Lord. And after I had written my 6 articles for How to Live, I then searched the various works on hygiene and was surprised to find them so nearly in harmony with what the Lord had revealed to me. And to show this harmony and to set before my brethren and sisters the subject as brought out by able writers, I determined to publish How to Live, in which I largely extracted from the works referred to. So there you have it. Also, below is a book there's a book by Dr. Merritt Kellogg, who happened to be John Harvey's older brother, a man Sister White highly regarded in the medical missionary work. This book contains many water treatments. However, those things with medicinal ingredients should not be used. In the book, How to Live, the book Sister White wrote 6 articles for and compiled herself, we are counseled not to add anything to the water but use only soft water. So you can go to pages 5 and 6 of the actual document and also pages 9 and 10 on the PDF to see all the treatments listed in the table of contents. And again, I will have a link below. And then pages 115 to 196 were all the water treatments. Now, I'm also going to list information regarding water treatments and therapies found in the Natural Remedies Cyclopedia. And that is in the 7th and the 5th editions. I know there's a 6th edition too, because I'm pretty sure that's the one I have. But this is the information I have. So it's going to be basic things to know about hot and cold water treatment, special cautions regarding hydrotherapy. There's going to be a chart for hot and cold water treatments terminology, different water treatments explained, water therapy demonstrations with pictures, enemas, irrigation of the ear, nose, and throat, water temperature table for treatment, and a disease index for water treatments. Now, if any of the treatments in this book or following videos contradict that which is in the previous books listed, How to Live and Hygienic Family Physician, You just disregard those treatments in the Natural Remedies Encyclopedia. However, if there aren't any treatments already listed and are not in contradiction of what the prophet says, then feel free to use them. So anyway, to watch also 14 demonstrations of water therapy, I will list, there's going to be a link below. And there's 19 videos. It's done by a husband and wife team, and they're very informative. So what types of ways may water treatments be given? Number one, why need anyone be ignorant of God's remedies? Hot water fomentations and cold compresses and hot compresses. And that second selected message is 289, paragraph 4. And then MM228 says experimenting in drugs is a very expensive business. Paralysis of the brain and tongue is often the result, and the victims die an unnatural death, when if they had been treated perseveringly, with unwearied, unrelaxed diligence, and with hot and cold water, hot compresses and packs, and then dripping sheet, they would be alive today. And that's MM228, paragraph 2. And then they observe the various forms of water therapy as the half bath, Ellen White said, WV 106, paragraph 5. They observe the various forms of water therapy as the plunge, Ellen White said, WV 106, paragraph 5. And they observe the various forms of water therapy as the cold sheet pack, and the various forms of water therapy as fomentations, which is, again, in the same book. And Ellen White said all that. Okay, so another thing is bathing. Persons in health should on no account neglect bathing. They should by all means bathe as often as twice a week. Those who are not in health have impurities in the blood, and the skin is not in a healthy condition. The multitude of pores or little mouths through which the body breathes become clogged and filled with waste matter. The skin needs to be carefully and thoroughly cleansed that the pores may do their work in freeing the body from impurities. Therefore, feeble persons who are diseased surely need the advantage and blessings of bathing as often as twice a week, and frequently even more than this is positively necessary. Whether a person is sick or well, respiration is more free and easy if bathing is practiced. By it, the muscles become more flexible, the mind and body are alike invigorated, the intellect is made brighter, and every faculty becomes livelier. The bath is a soother of the nerves. It promotes general perspiration, quickens the circulation, overcomes obstruction in the system, and acts beneficially on the kidneys and urinary organs. Bathing helps the bowels, the stomach, liver, and to give energy to new life to each. It promotes digestion, and instead of the system being weakened, it is strengthened. Instead of increasing the liability of cold, a bath properly taken fortifies against cold because the circulation is, and the uterine organs, which are more or less congested, are relieved. For the blood is brought to the surface, and a more easy and regular flow of the blood through all the blood vessels is obtained. Wow, that's a lot that a bath does. Personally, I take a bath 3 nights a week. I do enjoy it. It's just very relaxing, very peaceful. I turn off all the lights except for a little night light in the bathroom and sit in the bathtub of nice warm water and just relax. It is very soothing. Now, there are incorrect ways of bathing. Invalids have frequently used water injudiciously, especially if they are extremists. They may not have a correct knowledge of the use of water. They may have used the water too warm and not reduced the bath sufficiently with cold to tone up the pores of the skin, which has a debilitating influence upon the system. Or they may have used the water too cold and driven the blood from the surface to the internal organs, producing congestion. They may have exposed themselves to cold air immediately after bathing. I have known persons to take cold from which they have never recovered by sitting in a room without a fire and becoming thoroughly chilled immediately after taking a bath. So bring all your clothes into the bathroom when you take a bath and get dressed warmly when you're finished. Many are not benefited by taking a bath because they don't practice lying down after a bath and giving nature time to react. If they cannot rest at least a half an hour after bath, they should exercise by walking or working to keep from a sense of chilliness in order for reaction. Those who have taken baths carelessly and have suffered in consequence receive the impression that it was the bath which injured them, when it was their own injudicious management that produced the bad results. And all that is from Health Reformer, June 1st, 1872, and that is paragraph 5. So that is some very good information about taking a bath. Now, a cold or cool bath is an excellent tonic. Warm baths open the pores and thus aid in the elimination of impurities, and both warm and neutral baths soothe the nerves and equalize the circulation. That's Ministry of Healing, 237, paragraph 1. Now, some weeks ago, we rented the building in Hamilton known as the Turkish Baths. This building is provided with facilities for giving Turkish baths and hot and cold water baths. That's KC 127, paragraph 2. And then she says, she took a Sitz bath last night and slept well. 21 manuscript release, page 207. So here's some things now I'm going to tell you that bathing helps. Respiration is more freely, your muscles become more flexible, your mind is invigorated, your body's invigorated, your intellect is made brighter, every faculty becomes livelier, nerves are soothed, perspiration is promoted, circulation is quickened, obstructions are overcome, kidneys and urinary organs are benefited, bowels are energized, and new life is given to the stomach, which is energized, the liver is energized, digestion is promoted, it strengthens the system, fortifies against cold, circulation is improved, uterine organs are relieved of any congestion, and a regular flow of blood through all the vessels is obtained. There is a chapter in the book How to Live about how to take baths, and that's on pages 47 through 53. Excuse me. Now, I need to get a drink of water. Water treatments, as a natural remedy for different ailments from the spirit of prophecy. We're told to use the best remedies for restoring the sufferer to health, and that's LLM 78, paragraph 5. Now, I think there's like 27 things now I'm going to talk about for remedies from the spirit of prophecy using water. Number 1 was a badly cut foot, and that's when Sarah went to visit a suffering boy with a cut foot, and after she worked with him twice a day for hours with hot compresses, the pain was removed. And you can read about this in 4 Bio, starting at page 329. Now, bleeding from a bandage cut head, again, you can read about that in the 1888 book, page 866, paragraph 3. Blood pouring from the eyes, ears, and nose. You can read about that in LLM 541, paragraph 4. Another one was a broken skull, and you can read about that in 12 MR, page 170, starting at. And cleansing body tissues. And we're told that water is the best liquid to cleanse the tissues, and that's CD 420, paragraph 1. Notice, she doesn't say juice or energy drinks or coffee or caffeinated teas or any of that other stuff. She says water. Another thing is cold feet. We're not to sit in a meeting with cold feet. If your feet are cold, she says, wash them in cold water, then dry them thoroughly, and that the blood will thus be called from the head to the limbs. That's 2 SAT 142, paragraph 5. Then congestion of the head in 2 SM 297, paragraph 7. A cough. Diphtheria, 13 manuscript release, 43, paragraph 1. I guess I forgot the reference for the cough, but I know she talks about if you have a cough that you should put eucalyptus oil in honey and take it, and a lot of people say it works really well. Diphtheria, 13 manuscript release, page 43, SW, January 23, 1902, paragraph 17. 2 Bio 13.4 and 13.5, and all this is about diphtheria. And then 2 Bio 70.5, that's paragraph 5. And then fevers, you can read about fevers in 20 manuscript release, 278. Heart failure and difficulty breathing, Review and Herald, January 20, 1910, paragraphs 13, 14, and 15. Hunger pains, TSDF 123, paragraph 5. Inflammation of the eyes, 20 mR 280 paragraph 3, warm compresses to the spine for fever. 20 mR 280 paragraph 3, lung problems. 2 SM 304 paragraphs 1 and 2, and 1T 604. And she talks about applying a head cap. And if you want to learn how to do that, that's in the book How to Live at page 53 at the top of the page. Also, lung hemorrhages. 20 manuscript release, page 278, paragraphs 5, 6, and 279, paragraph 1. Lung inflammation for bio 327, paragraph 5, and 328, paragraph 1. Malaria, 20 MR 279, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. Nervous exhaustion, SW, January 23, 1902, paragraph 15. That's Southern Watch, by the way. And then pain, Ministry Healing, page 237. 16 manuscript release, page 129, paragraphs 2 and 3. Pain from lung problems, 2 SM 304, paragraph 2. Relieve suffering, CD 303, and scalding, which is a burn from a hot liquid or hot steam. 16 manuscript release, 41, paragraphs 3 and 4. And then swelling on the head or brain is 20 MR 279, paragraph 5, and also 12 MR 171, paragraphs 1 through 3. And swelling on the knee, GH, October 1, 1899, paragraphs 4 and 5. Throat problems, 20 MR 206, paragraph 5, and paragraphs, or page 207, paragraph 3. And toothache from painful surgery, and that's EGWE 87, paragraph 2. And to warm a person up before bed who's been outside in the cold all day, you can go to MR 1033, page 18, paragraph 2, and MS 44 1890, pages 1 and 2. And then weakness, 21 MR 85, paragraph 2, and that is the 27th one of those remedies that you can read about in the Spirit of Prophecy. Very good stuff. Now here's some more important things to know. If your hands are in cold water for too long, it can produce swelling in your neck. The question with us is how these women can keep their hands in ice cold water for hours at a time without injury to their health. Indeed, we are quite inclined to the opinion that this practice is one cause of the enlarged necks, which we saw everywhere. This is, however, most commonly attributed to the water which they drink. Cold or ice water should not be used on frail persons. 20 MR 280, paragraph 6 says she has tried to vindicate cold and ice water treatment, but I differ with her. There is not strength in that frail body now to bear any such heroic treatment. And then a strict diet is important for water remedies to work. CD 304, paragraph 4 says the use of water can accomplish but little if the patient does not feel the necessity of also strictly attending to his diet. So don't be eating a bunch of junk, basically. And that includes meat, dairy, eggs, sugars, MSG, food dyes, all kinds of stuff. Now, are heating pads safe? There's going to be a link about those down below, and the difference between dry and moist heat. I'll have a link. And then there's a book called Hydrotherapy, Simple Treatments for Common Ailments. I'll have a link on that below. That's by a doctor. And then those video demonstrations I told you about. And then for a hot foot bath, there will be a link, and it's for congestive headaches, loss of feeling in your feet, chest congestion, stop a nosebleed or eye bleed or an ear bleed, pelvic congestion, and that's to start menstruation, hypertension relief for blood pressures over 160/90, common cold, prevention and relief, decrease of rapid pulse rate, relaxation, comfort. And what you need for that is going to be a 5-gallon bucket, half full of hot water at 103 degrees, a water thermometer, a sheet or blanket for a sweating procedure, washcloth, medium-sized bowl with cold water, pitcher to add very hot water, a glass of water, and a straw. And the instructions are to carefully put your feet in the water at 103 degrees. It can be up to 110. Warm water after a few minutes. You check the temperature periodically and add hot water as the temperature decreases. Put a sheet over the patient, put cold compresses on the head. Continually ask the person how the temperature is and how they feel, and keep their head cool and them hydrated, so give them water. Do this treatment for 30 minutes and finish it by lifting the feet up out of the basin. Pour cold water over the feet and then dry the feet and have the towel under the basin, so when the basin's removed you have it, and have them rest for about a half an hour. Now you can also do alternate bath for sprains and strains and trauma and fractures and arthritis and edema and infections, to hot bath for painful conditions or sluggish. Ulcer circulation, impaired venous circulation used to relieve edema, pain, frostbite, and cold feet. And the items needed for that are 2 dish basins, boiling water, ice thermometer, towels. You can use a 1/4 cup of mustard powder and a tablespoon of cayenne to add. You can do a local cold bath. See Ministry of Healing 237 paragraph 1. For sprained ankle, acute inflammation, acute arthritis, too slow of a pulse and respiration, and you need a container large enough to cover the area being treated, 60-degree water, thermometer, pitcher to add ice cold water, ice, extra ice, and 2 towels. Caution though, persons with diabetes or vascular disease, care should be taken to prevent chilling. You can also do an ice massage for painful joints, bursitis, pain between bone and muscle tendons, painful muscles, strains, trauma, inflammation, acute neck, shoulder, and lower back pain. You just need 2 styrofoam cups with ice frozen in them and 2 hand towels. You pour the water into the cups and you freeze them in the freezer. Peel back the top part of the cup so the ice is exposed, and rub the ice on the area for 7 minutes or until the area is numb. It will be very uncomfortable at first, but keep moving around. Don't stay in the same spot when applying the ice. Then exercise the joint area and dry the area off, and this brings fresh blood to the area. Cautions though, rheumatoid arthritis, stroke, when a person is cold. You can also do steam inhalation for relief of nasal and lung congestion, sore throats, coughs, breaking up mucus in the lungs, and colds. And you need a tea kettle for boiling water, a towel for concentrating vapor for inhalation, eucalyptus and peppermint oil, and that helps the airway. But because this treatment involves steam, you got to be careful, because special care must be taken to avoid scalding or burning someone, and it may have to be shortened for small children or the elderly. And those with chronic respiratory disease or chronic heart disease may find it difficult to breathe. You can also do a neutral bath. It really relaxes the nerves, and that's for acute hypertension, dry skin, agitation, insomnia, depression, itchy skin, mental illness. It relaxes the nerves, and what you need for that is an air pillow or towels for the head, a bath thermometer, bath towels, and fill the bathtub about 94 to 97 degrees. You can also buy bath thermometers to check the temperature of the bath. Now, in case of acute anxiety, cleansing, or insomnia, the bath should be prolonged. When used for insomnia, treatment should be done right before bedtime. The temperature can be increased to 99, depending on the temperature of the room and the person. Caution, some cases of eczema and persons with great cardiac weakness. There's also the Russian steam bath, and that assists the body in elimination of toxins and doubles the white blood cell count. And that's for anxiety, building the immune system, cancer, colds, flus, depression, detoxing the body, diabetes, no foot bath, short duration, fighting infection, hypertension, short duration again, hypothyroidism, increasing blood pressure, insomnia, lupus, menopausal symptoms, muscle and joint pain, relaxation, rheumatoid arthritis and arthritis, shingles, tension, and to stimulate body functions. You need a tea kettle and a hot plate for this, plastic or a wooden chair. You cover with towels, plastic sheeting, or just use a shower curtain, a hot foot bath, which a 5-gallon bucket or container. You half fill it with 103-degree water to start up, and then warming up to 106 to 110, depending on the person's tolerance. Cold compress, a small container with cold water and medium-sized towels. 2 more extra towels, not including the ones that you put on the chairs, and drinking water and straws. And so the procedure is you place the chair on plastic sheet, cover the chair with towels, place the foot on the floor on plastic in front of the chair, the foot buckets, I mean. Put the person in the chair and put their feet in the water and place the tea kettle underneath the chair with the spout pointing outward. Place the towel over their shoulders to prevent plastic from irritating the shoulders, and wrap plastic around the person and make sure the steam is not too hot, draping over hot foot bath and around steam kettle. Wrap cold wet compress, one around the head, one around the neck to protect the brain and thyroid gland. It cools the blood. Check the temperature to prevent inducing a fever. Keep it around 102 degrees. Check the temperature of the hot foot bath water. It should be 104 to 112 degrees. And as a person starts sweating, give them water to keep them hydrated, and check with them to make sure that they're not getting burned by the steam. And change the cold compresses to the head as you're going through the treatment. Do 7 minutes for disease process. Do it 15 minutes and end with wrapping the person in a sheet and blanket and let them sweat it out. Then there's also alternate hot and cold shower, which is really great for enhancing your immune system. It's also good for fatigue, diabetes, refresher, after local, hypertension, general heat application, depression, immune booster, obesity, and stimulate metabolism of the body. So you just start with warm water, working up to 105 degrees, as hot as you can handle it without getting burned. Do 1 minute hot, 30 seconds cold. Repeat that 3 times, rest 30 minutes to an hour afterwards. Now, there's also bath additives. Mustard powder bath, it produces sweating and rids the body of toxins. You put a half a cup into warm to hot water, no more than 102 degrees. Keep a cool rag on the forehead and give them water to drink during the whole process, and rest an hour after. You also need to put Vaseline on your private parts and under your arms to keep from getting burned. Now there's also an oatmeal bath. You can blend 4 cups into a powder and add it to a warm bath and soak in that 30 minutes to an hour. It's great for skin irritations and rashes. You can do a charcoal bath. You put a cup of that in 100 to 101 degree water and mix it well. Soak in that for 20 to 30 minutes and keep well hydrated, and keep a cold rag on your forehead and to absorb the toxic waste, help with rashes, pain, cold, or flu. So anyway, the next one is fomentations. You can do fomentations, and they are very effective for relieving pain. There's 2 parts to this, part 1 and part 2, and it's for acne, alcoholism, arthritis pain, Bell's palsy, cerebral congestion, collapse or shock to the spine, colon pain, constipation, diabetes, drug addiction, edema, heat stroke, hernia, indigestion, inflammation, menstrual pain, muscular contractions, numbness, tingling, sluggish liver, spasm, stress, all kinds of things. And anyway, heating compresses you can do for asthma, bronchitis, inflammation, laryngitis, nasal congestion, pain, rheumatoid arthritis, tonsillitis. And there's also additional water treatments from our pioneer writings. And then you can also use it for cholera and female complaints, gout, measles, the plague, pneumonia, rheumatism. And then there also is going to be a link for the, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing this right, but it's called the Prisenitz water treatment. I don't know how to pronounce it right, but anyway, there's other water treatments. You can do cold water drinking and warm bathing for hysteria, hypochondrial disorders, hemorrhages, fever. You can do it for wounds. You can use water for a remedy for fevers, the plague, scarlet fever, smallpox, measles, jaundice, coughs. You can use baths for scarlet fever, smallpox, typhoid fever, and other diseases. You can do Sitz baths. They can be taken from 1 to 4 times a week, or a few minutes duration, as low temperatures can be tolerated without chilliness, and given at the same time a hot foot bath, and apply cool wet cloths to the head. The frequency of this treatment will depend upon the condition of the patient, though. And that's 1870 JW Soap, page 271, paragraph 2. It can also be given for sexual disorders. How to perform a Sitz bath. You put a block under the backside to tip it forward a little and filling it as full of water as possible without having it run over when the patient sits down in it. And then you take a common pail, if the former can't be had, and fill it up partially full of warm water for the purpose of immersing the feet, setting it down in front of the Sitz bath. Then place the patient in a sitting posture and wrap a heavy blanket around him in front, bring it across the shoulders in the rear, and tuck it smoothly down. Then bind their head in the shape of a wreath or band with a towel, wet in cold water, and let them sit until perspiration is induced. If the patient is a child, quite small, the ranges must be made to suit size and age. In many instances, an attendant is directed to kneel down and lifting up one side of the blanket and dip their hand in water and rub the upper portion of the chest. If sweating is not readily induced, some of the water is dipped out and hotter water poured in until a higher temperature is raised as the patient can bear. Now, we're told in the Pioneer writings, I have never had a case where the primary symptoms were not mitigated in some measure as soon as increased action of the circulation by the skin was manifest. And that's 1865 JW HHTL, page 73, paragraph 1. And then there's Sitz baths for the frail, feeble person, and Sitz baths for acute inflammations, diarrhea, general debility, hemorrhoids, local congestions, nervousness, and to induce sweating. So water is a very, very powerful and useful tool that God gave us for all kinds of things. And I know personally, I have done fomentations on people when they had lung problems, and it works amazingly. It's wonderful stuff. God is amazing. He has given us so many natural remedies to use to help us to feel better. Anyway, I hope you what you heard on here today was a blessing to you, because my time is up. And until we meet again, may the good Lord bless and keep you. And remember, God loves you and he wants you to be in health.